Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I hope you are having a fantastic day. Let me give a shout out to a couple of groups that also broadcasting live in the ADOS professionals. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you have those papers, pens, whatever you need. Okay, we're just going to be here probably about 30 minutes, a little over, depending on how many questions we get. But while you're here, get off Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Uh, One of the few times out here to get off LinkedIn, get off of it for a few moments. Get off whatever social media that you're on because we want your full attention as we pour into your life and give you some information that's going to help you move to that next level. Also, want to give shout out to NYC New York group. I'm broadcasting live in there as well, and I hope you're having a great day. Hey, well, let me see so you'll know what this is and what this is about. This is how to find a job during the pandemic. So, how to find a job during the pandemic. We're going to talk about that. We're going to give you some tips. We're going to give you just a different mindset. Hopefully, encourage you during what can be some stressful and difficult times. Of course, my name is Sean Hill. I am the LinkedIn coach, and if you need help with your LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn job strategy, make sure you reach out to me. And of course, this show is sponsored by the Job Search Advantage. During these tough times, you need an advantage, and that advantage can come from my program, the Job Search Advantage, which gives you an optimized LinkedIn profile. It gives you a job search strategy. It also gives you over 200 job boards that have remote opportunities with it. So it's a great product. Make sure you go. You'll see down at the bottom, there's a little scroll where you can go. There's job search tips 2021.com. It'll take you directly there. And of course, with all that being said, I have my wonderful friend, someone who has become like a sister to me, Miss Deborah Russell. She is an MBA. She's a certified executive. All right, and an executive resume writer, not just a regular one. He's an executive resume writer, and so I am blessed to be able to hang out with her on this beautiful Saturday. My sister, please tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. As Sean just said, my name is Deborah Russell, and I am an executive resume writing career coach. So, my history is 15 years of leadership and management. And so, the one thing that I always had to do, regardless to my position, was interview. Look at resumes and work with the applicant tracking system. So when you've done something for 10, 15 years, it becomes like an extremity of your body. So it's like my third arm or my other leg because I've had to work with it so much in the past. And so that's helped me become a better career coach and a better resume writer because I understand the programming and why things are done the way they're done. So it definitely helps me help my clients help themselves.
Awesome, awesome. And we're gonna jump right in. We know this is a Saturday well, obviously it's Saturday for everybody, but we know this that you have a lot of things to do today. If you could do me a favor, if you could share this show, also Facebook likes it when you engage. So give me those hearts, those likes, those thumbs ups are always appreciated. Tag some people that may be looking for a job and they may need to hear this information. And with that being said, we're gonna jump right into the show. Deborah, what are your thoughts on the current job market?
I'm going to say this with my hands. It is open. It is open. It is open. It's awake. I had you ask me this a couple of months ago. I would have said, things are not really moving. It's sort of kind of dormant. It's really, kind of lazy. Just because employers are we hiring? Are we not hiring? Are we on a freeze? Are we furloughing? What are we doing? Those things are almost to an end. And so if you were going to be furloughed, you've been furloughed. If you were going to be terminated, you've been terminated. So now that things are up and open, companies are hiring. So you need to be ready because the positions are there, the vacancies are there, the opportunity is there. So you have to be ready to grasp at it because like a lot of people didn't understand, the furlough happened because sales were not there. And so now the job market is saturated, unfortunately, with a bunch of talent. So in that saturation comes an employer's market, like they say with the buyer's market for the housing industry. It's definitely employer's market because there is way more talent than there originally was before the pandemic.
Absolutely. And that's what I would say, the same thing, that this is probably one of the tightest job markets ever. Now, I wasn't around for the Great Depression. I'm not quite that old, but just as you said, if we had just the pandemic to deal with, if we had just the downturn economically to deal with, those would be challenges in and of themselves. But when you put those two together, you have, as you said, just almost like they say, a perfect storm of a situation that's kind of a negative. Now, we're not trying to say gloom and doom, but we do want you to be realistic and prepare for what's out there, right? And so what you have is a glut of talent, right? So you're not just competing against maybe the person that you thought you were competing against before. Now you're competing against executives who've been furloughed, who've been laid off. And so now that's why I say you have to have some type of advantage, and you can't just take the regular route that you used to. And that's what we're going to talk about, some different routes, some different alternatives. You're going to have to do things a little bit differently if you want a job. And if you want the best jobs, you're really going to have to upscale and do things a little bit different. So we're going to get into some of our power tips. I love talking about some tips and some power tips to really help you out. And number one, Miss Deborah's power tip number one is social media activity. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Social media activity is the foundation. As a recruiter, the first thing I do is look at your LinkedIn profile. If there is no profile picture, I'm wondering if you're a real person or if you're some kind of bot. So, am I going to spend 5 minutes investigating your profile? No. LinkedIn is the size of China with enough people on it. So, I'm just going to move to the next person. If I get to your profile and it is not fully outfitted with content, I'm going to move to the next person, because you're asking me to do way too much research and invest time in something that I'm not sure that is going to be advantageous for me. So I'm going to move to the next profile. If I get to your profile and I see grammatical errors,
Mm.
yes, everyone misspells something here or there, but there's autocorrect or there's spell check. And if you have things, errors on your profile, I'm going to assume that's how your work would be, because this is a representation of you. And so if
Mhm.
this is your best foot that you're putting forward, I'm not sure that I want to even entertain that in my work environment. So yes, am I being fickle? Of course. But now, just like we said, this is the employer's market. So I can look for a pink unicorn because there are pink unicorns out there. So why would I not
Mhm.
want to try and find one? And so I
Absolutely.
definitely make sure that I want people to understand social media can help you or hurt you depending on how you use it.
Absolutely. And just to kind of follow up on that, I know I'm gonna make some people real mad about this, but just to follow up on your social media profile now, because guess what? When people are interested in you, they're gonna Google you. They're gonna go and find your information. You also have to be careful about what you're putting out there. You should, that's
Yes.
just the reality of a job search. Now, if you're not searching for a job, well, you still have to be careful, because a lot of people have made a lot of missteps and got,
Yes.
and now they have to look for a job because of what they put on their social media. But
Yes.
it's even more relevant for people who are looking for a job. If you're out there saying a lot of stuff and I hate this and this is horrible and I can't believe this, guess what? Think about it. Do you think a company is going to want to bring that person into their culture? No. So you have to kind of. I was talking to one young lady, and she said, "Ooh, I've said some strong things about certain stuff on my Twitter. Do you think that could be a problem?" I said, "Yeah, it could be a problem. Can I guarantee that some employer is going to go out there and look for it? No, I can't guarantee that. But if you have to put as many advantages in your corner as possible, and during this season, it might be time to tone down, cut off. Hey, I said what you might want to do is just put some pictures of friends and family and love and you might want to put that out there as opposed to all this and it's that and I can't stand this. I don't. Hey, guess what? As Deborah said, when you make it through that first pass, you make it through that next step. Now employers are looking for reasons to disqualify you, not qualify you, but disqualify. So if I have two people in front of me and I don't know either one of them seems like just a regular person, family, and they're talking about some positive things. Another person seems angry and bitter and upset. Well, guess which one I'm going to be more likely to hire? That's the reality that we're in.
Yep.
So okay, so we went on about that. That is so important. My number one tip is know exactly the job you want. I can't tell you how many LinkedIn profile reviews and how many people I've talked to, and I've asked them, "Well, what do you want to do? What job are you looking for?" Oh, I want a job that's a salaried position. I want a job that has great benefits. See, those aren't jobs. Those are features of a job. Those are so that's not a job. A job is I want to be an accountant, and that's even broad. But I'm using that because people understand. I want to be an accountant. I want to be this. You have to have specificity. You have to be specific about the job you want. Now, does that mean you can't apply for other jobs? Absolutely not. You apply for as many jobs as you want to, but you have to have a job idea about what you want because then when you come to Deborah or your friends, you activate your network. If you say, "Oh, well, I'll just take anything," guess what? You get anything. You'll just say, "I saw that McDonald's was hiring. Here's their number." Nothing wrong with McDonald's. Now, I don't. But if you're an executive, you probably weren't asking your friends to drive down the street and show that McDonald's was hiring. So you have to be specific because guess what? We're all busy. Nobody has time in their lives to try to figure out what's a good job fit for you. You have to know that already. You have to be specific. You have to know the skills that are required for that job. And that level of specificity will help clear the way for you. And now you're not in this full bowl of I just don't know what I want. I just want to work. I get that. I get the times are hard. We do. But when you're asking for your network to help you out, you got to be specific. Deborah, did you want to say anything about that?
I do. So as a resume writer, I can tell you that majority of my clients come to me and they just tell me what salary they want, and that they want a work-life balance. And I'm like, okay, so where do you want to go? And they're like, I don't know. So I usually have them do an assessment of about 75 questions. It takes them about 20 minutes, and then that assessment kind of pegs what your personality is and where you would flourish as far as a career is concerned. Because if you're a person that does not like people, you have no business in customer service. I repeat, if you do not like people, don't go to a customer service job because you're going to either get fired or you're going to quit. And you're always going to say, it wasn't me, it was da da da, but that self reflection would tell you it's you. And so you need to make sure that the position that you're pursuing or the position that you're currently in actually truly fits with what's in your heart, where you want to go, where you see yourself going. And if it doesn't, then you need to go ahead and make a transition. Because if not, then the employer is going to transition for you. Um, yeah. Another thing about knowing exactly where you want to go is planning. If
Yeah.
I want to get to a VP level, I need to know, does that require me to go back to college and get a degree? Do I have to get certifications? Do I need to get experience with these different types of software? All of these things matter when you plan your career. You can't just fall into six figures right out of high school unless you're doing something like welding. Like those careers, if you did an underwater welder, then yeah, you can make easy 90 grand a year, but you're going to be in the middle of nowhere of the ocean welding barges. So it's possible, but again, you need to know what you want to do and how you're going to get there. So you need to know what's going on. You can't just kind of throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. That never works. Trust me, it does not work.
No, she's a pro. She knows this. She knows it doesn't work. Okay. Deborah goes power tip number two, active slash passive job search. So tell us a little bit about that.
So your active job search has to be proactive, right? Okay, so when we say proactive, that means you putting those feelers out there. You're talking to people in your network that you speak to once a month, every other month, whatever the case may be. Hey, Melissa, I'm looking for a new job. If you hear anything, let me know. Hey, Jake, we went to this networking event. You told me you did yada, yada, yada. I see that you guys are hiring. What do I need to do to get my resume to someone? That is that active job search that you need in order to cut down your time. The passive job search is when you highlight 10, maybe 15 companies in the industry of choice. Then you create a profile on those company websites. Now, the reason why that's passive is because the employer is going to email you when there's a job description that fits what you put in there. So it's not me actively stalking their page every week. It's
Mhm.
them letting me know when I qualify. So I always tell people, if you can set up alerts on Indeed, set them up on Indeed, and every single job posting that you're interested in, set up that alert, because when a job comes open, they're going to email you and say, hey, this job is here, go and apply for it. It kind of takes away all of your legwork. That's
Mhm.
why it's passive. Another active job search tool is making sure that you're ready when the opportunity calls.
Mhm.
So if I'm at an event and someone starts talking about what they do and where they work at, find out how they got in that industry, especially if it's something you're curious about, because they're going to tell you, hey, this is what I did, this is what you got to do, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. You never know. That person may know someone that could walk your resume right to the hiring manager or to the recruiter or the HR director, however that company is set up. But you need to do a combination of active and passive job search in order to cut down your time. Because if not, you could be unemployed for months, years.
Yeah.
It's all about your effort.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And we talked about that earlier about the job market and how the job market plays into that. I think before this, before when the economy was real good and was going full steam and job unemployment was really, really low. There was still some, kind of little stagnancy in it, latency in it, but you're probably looking at a job search maybe between 3 to 6 months, depending on the job that you wanted. But it was kind of the reverse. There was more people that there were more jobs available than people looking for jobs. So you could get in one pretty relatively. Now it's just flipped. Now it's
Right.
just so now you, as you said, if you're not doing this active passive job search, you my goodness, 9 months, maybe a year
Yep.
out, maybe.
Yep.
Uh and who knows what's going to happen in 2021. We just have no hey, guess what? We didn't see this, right? We didn't see this in 2019 that this was going to happen. So you have to have that good blend. And that kind of dovetails right into my power tip is you got to get on LinkedIn and you have to network. See, LinkedIn is the I call it the job search advantage, because what's happening is we know from even before this pandemic hit that if you go out and you apply on job boards and you do all that good stuff in Monster and Career Builder and Indeed and all these wonderful things that you need to do, only 5% of those people got an interview. So you apply for 100 jobs, you probably ought to get 5 that's that statistic. However, we also know that 60% of or more of jobs are filled by referral. Hey, guess what? I knew somebody. Hey, as you said, I walked the resume right into the office. Now, for a lot of legal reasons, they probably still have to post it. But most
Yes.
of the time, they know who they're going to hire. They're like, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and post that. Let's go through the motions. Let's check the checklist. And once we finish with that, let's get John in here and get him started. So the thing about LinkedIn, though, you can't treat it like a job board. You cannot go over there, set up alerts, and just think LinkedIn is just going to send you just these grade A jobs, and then that's what's going to happen. You have to network. You have to network. The strength of LinkedIn is your ability to talk to people at those companies. So
Right.
like Deborah said, hey, set up those 10, 15 companies, but then go and meet people at that company. Go send out
Yes.
the connection request. Develop that relationship. Now, once again, this is not the time to set up the connection request with, "Hey, I need a job. Are you?
No.
Do you know somebody?"
Don't do that.
That's not how you network. See, you wouldn't do that at a career fair. So don't do it don't do it over on the site just because you're not live with that person. You want
Right.
to develop a relationship with that person. You want to get to know them. See if there's some way that you may be able to help them out. Ask them about themselves and things like that. So you want to develop that relationship. And believe me, because guess what? They're going to be able to tell you a lot of things about that company as they become more comfortable with you that you're not going to find out in the general public. You may find out, well, wow, I didn't know that this was happening. I didn't know that that's what that job really was like, because sometimes they have a job description, but the job reality is something totally different. And you end up saying, wow, I didn't even know that's what it was like. So that's one of the things I would encourage you to do is as you get on LinkedIn, don't do what I call show up and throw up. In other words, I show up on LinkedIn and I throw up a profile, and I just think these six-figure jobs are just supposed to appear to me because I'm on LinkedIn and ooh, this is
Right.
cool. You have to actively, like my friend said, actively network, meet people, talk to people. And so if you say a lot of times when I tell people, it's like, well, I don't know a lot of people. Okay, fine, get to know them. I don't know what you want me to tell you. You start from where you are and get to know people. Well, I'm not good at networking. Get good. I don't, you know, you have to do differently. You
So
cannot
let me chime in on that.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So to get someone to want to interact with you on LinkedIn, the one thing that I despise, when I say despise, I mean it in all sincereness of the word. I despise when someone falls in my inbox and says, "Are y'all hiring? Because I saw that you recruited for such and such, and I need a job. Like, please help me out. Let me." That is not how you get someone to know your value.
Not at all.
So the first thing you want to do is send the meeting request. I mean the connection request. They're gonna approve it because it's LinkedIn and everyone's trying to be, PC about it. And then when you go on their profile, look and see if you guys have any similarities. Did we go to the same college? Did we go through the same training program? Are we in the same career industry? Whatever the case may be. And then when they post on their wall, look at it, read it, and make a post or a comment that relates to it. So that way, you're not the creepy person that fell in my inbox. You're the lady that reads all my posts. Oh, you're the one that always writes something funny. Oh, so then, after a couple of weeks of doing that, then that's when you go in the inbox and say, "Hey, I liked your last post." They're, of course, going to say, "Thank you. What did you like?" Or, "Yeah, it was pretty funny." Now you have some kind of connection. Now it's not a warm, now it's not cold. It's not a cold call. It's like a warm touch, is what I teach my clients. Get to that warm touch and then start your conversation and then say something to the effect of, "Hey, you've been at Procter and Gamble for a while. Do you like it there?" And they're going to give you the, "Yeah, I like it," or "Don't do it. I'm trying to leave." Okay, we save you, you know what I'm saying? And so then once you get that interaction, that foundation is laid, then they're going to help you get to where you need to be. Oh, you're interested in what position? Well, do you have your resume? Oh, of course. You send it to them. And then that's when they say, "Yeah, I can walk you into blah, 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 blah." Or I've even had people create a relationship on LinkedIn and their company is not hiring, but then because they knew you were looking for a job, "Hey, I know Melissa and her company's hiring. I'm going to tell her that I know you when I send her the resume." So again, your network on LinkedIn is your net worth. I was taught
Mhm.
that years ago. Your network is your net worth. And networking doesn't have to be painful.
No,
Network
no,
does not have to be painful.
no.
Conversations should not be painful. And if they are, then you have to examine why it gives you anxiety or why it gives you the frustration or the fear. Because you know what? The same person sitting behind that computer is the same person that was in the store, the same person that's down the street, same person at the park. So if you can talk to people in person, you can definitely talk to them online. It's just knowing the tricks and the tips to make it genuine. Because like you said, no one wants to feel like you're just plugging them for an end. Because if that's the case, I'll disconnect and block you.
Yeah, yeah. And let me give you the $1 million question to ask somebody. This is the $1 million question that's going to get you in with them and it's going to build that relationship. And that is there anything I can help you with? See, now you flip the script and now
Mhm.
you become from somebody who wants something from me to somebody who's actually saying that they can help me with something. Hey, yeah, maybe I need some insurance. I'm just making something up. Maybe that person has a need that
Mhm.
you have some resources that you can share with them. Do you want to get on somebody's good side? Guess what? Supplying their need is one of the best ways to
Yes,
help them out because once again, it should be a relationships and relation. It should be
correct.
a dialogue, not a monologue, right? It's not just
Right.
take, 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 take. How
Yes,
can I pour into your life? How can I put a seed into your life? Is there anything I can
right.
help you with?
I
Ask
agree.
them that, and then you can, get developed and know them and get that relationship developed, that's going to be a lot easier for you. But yes, LinkedIn, you have to network. You got to meet people. It should not be painful. If it is painful, you really have to work. You wonder about your mindset. Well, what's my mindset going in? Am I having
Right.
expectations that are really not realistic? Am I having expectations about what people need to give me instead of
Right.
what I need to give them? So anyway, so okay, we talked about that a while.
My last one. Don't be pushy on LinkedIn.
That's true.
I've had several people that are like way too aggressive, that are demanding. You have to understand people are at work. People are busy. And so if it takes me a day to respond to you, it's only been a day. Don't, harass someone when you're trying to get your foot in the door. I've seen several people do that. That is the easiest way to turn someone off and lose that connection. So
Yeah.
use your manners. I understand that we're in a climate where people feel like, well, this is me, take me how I am, blah, blah, blah. Well, people like that usually don't get a job anytime soon. So yeah, you can offend someone and close that door
Very
of
easy.
opportunity very quickly. So you want to use your manners. The same way you want to be approached and interacted with is the same way someone else will want to be approached and interacted with.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because I get so many connection requests, and the first message is this long resume of all their skills, and I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do with this? I mean, you haven't said hello to me. It's just this, hey, da 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 da, blue, and it's this long dissertation,
Yeah,
and I'm like, no. Sometimes I'm like, is this working for you? 'Cause that's what I call
I've done that.
a spray and pray method. And then
Yeah,
so you're just spraying out that message as much as possible, praying
yeah.
that somebody will latch onto it. I guess some desperate person will latch onto that. That doesn't work. What will happen before we go to the next? What will happen is if you do that enough people will mark that as spam, and then LinkedIn will restrict your account because guess what? They don't want their people harassed. so,
Yeah.
so if enough people say, you know what, that was really annoying, your account will be restricted, and LinkedIn will slap you on the hand and say you can't send any more emails. In fact, you might be restricted from the platform because they don't want. All right. And number three is of power tip: current resume, updated resume. All right, Ms. Deborah, go talk about that one.
So the worst thing you could possibly do for yourself is to have an old, antiquated, outdated resume. I will say that again. An antiquated resume is not how you show the industry that you're tech savvy. That is not how you show the industry that you're staying up with market trends. That is not how you show the industry that you know how to build things to be profitable. Because if
Mhm.
this document is a representation of you and it's from what was going on in 2010, 2014, I'm going to struggle with believing that you say you do what you say you do. And the next thing with your resume, and I understand a lot of people feel that they can write a resume because I can write, oh, it's just a piece of paper and words. I look at probably 100 resumes a day. I
Wow.
said, look, not read. I said, look. I chose that word specifically to let you know I look at them, not read them, because I'm busy. And I have 8 hours of my day to get 15 hours of work done. So what I'm not going to do is read every single line on 100 resumes. I don't have that time. So I'm skimming. And if
Mhm.
what I skim does not pique my interest, I'm just going to put you in the I'll check it later file. But most of the time, I don't check it later. Because if you didn't catch me the first time, you're probably not going to catch me the second time. So I'm investing more time in something that's not going to be fruitful.
Mhm.
Not going to do that. So you want to make sure that you have a current template. Now, with that same thing being said, resumes are like a 15-lane highway. There is no specific one lane. I call it a 15-lane highway because as long as you're going in that direction of go forward, then you're winning. But
Mhm.
with that same thing being said, it needs to be in the right way. So you want to use industry specific jargon, words, things
Mhm.
that the person looking for employment in that industry would know. Don't assume that the recruiter that's recruiting for that position knows the industry. I always tell my people, spell it out. If you use the acronym, also tell me what the acronym means. Because, for example, KIT, what does that acronym stand for? What do you think it stands for, Sean?
Kit, when I used to watch Knight Rider, so I'm thinking it's like the card, the Kit card, the little black card. Is that what it is? Not Kit?
No, it's keep in touch.
Oh, well, there you go.
See, and see how this one simple phrase can be different. And so I always put the exact what it is on my resume because I don't want to leave any gray areas. Because
Yeah.
if you leave a gray area, then you leave it up to my interpretation, and my interpretation may not be your intention. And so
Mhm.
again, if you only got 5, maybe 10 seconds to catch my attention, it needs to be with things that matter about the position. Another thing on the resume, don't put information on there that I'm not going to care about. I always find older resumes that say references available upon request. I know that. So why are
Yeah.
you writing that? It's a
Yeah.
space killer. Also, objective statement, that phrase is no longer used in a resume. So it shouldn't be on there. And if it is on there, I know that you're using an old template and now I'm questioning how current are you? So you want to make sure that when you're building your resume, if you do it yourself, or if you decide to utilize a resume writer, make sure that they have some sort of education in it.
That's the one.
Because just because someone writes well, thank you. Just because someone writes well does not mean they know how to build a resume. So, for example, you're a mechanic, right? You know how to do an oil change, right?
Yep.
But if you blow a head gasket, do you know how to fix that?
Probably not. Probably
Right.
not.
Right, because an oil gasket has nothing to do, I mean, a head gasket has nothing to do with an oil change, but you're a mechanic.
Yeah.
And so there are things that are specific to that industry as far as resume writing is concerned to go along with the applicant tracking system.
Yeah.
Another thing, going back to the applicant tracking system, I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many people say when it says, what skills do you have? They say, see resume. That's not what I asked you. I asked you what your skills are because the person looking at the applicant tracking system may not be the same person that sees the resume. And
Hmm.
so if you're answering my question with see the resume, and I've spent an hour creating these 10 questions and you didn't answer them, guess who I'm not calling?
Hmm.
You. I'm not
Hmm.
calling you because you don't know how to follow directions. And that's what you told me. So finding a job in this culture has to be very specific. If they
Yeah.
ask you to do something, do it. I understand that you put in 15 applications a day, that's fine, but every application needs to feel like they're the one because you don't know who's sitting there looking at your information. And again, that's why you don't do the spray and pray method. Make
Hmm.
everything strategic. I teach my clients you only look for jobs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Mm.
Friday and Monday, take those days off. Looking for a job is a job.
It
So
is.
if you do it 7 days a week, you will have driven yourself crazy. Do it 3 days a week, dedicate 3 hours a day to it, 5 hours a day to it. But don't let that prevent you from living life because you will go stir crazy. You will go stir crazy if you think you can look for a job Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
That's so true. And like my friend said, an updated resume is not a little bit, it's very much different from an optimized resume. So you can have that old template and just update some dates. Oh, this is let me just add the latest thing here. But like you said, if you don't have a professional in your corner, if you haven't at least at a minimum done some research to see what the latest trends are in resumes, then you're going to be out of place. You have that career objective on there. I saw this one the other day. I was like, and I didn't say this to a young lady, but I was saying, I hope you didn't pay anybody for this because you literally could have done this, you know, by yourself. I hope you didn't actually pay somebody to give you this. And the thing about it is, you have to understand is that, as I said earlier, through that first pass through of those 100 resumes or however many that filters through the ATS system to actually get into the hands of a human, they're looking for reason to exclude you because they have enough. You don't have to look through all these and say, well, let me find the best one out of this 100. No, it's like, oh, that one didn't follow the directions. Okay, that one's gone. That one's gone. Oh, great. Now I'm down to 10. I'm down to 10 people who followed the directions. And
Yep.
so you really have to understand from their point of view is okay, let me do it. If they said do it in ABC form, I'm going to give them ABC. I'm not going to give them ABZ. I'm not going to
Yes.
give them all these other things. I'm not
Yes.
going to tell them what I think they should have. Do
Right.
what you're asked to do.
Yes.
Just follow the program, I promise you, follow the program, you're going to be in much better shape. And my last tip is you got to get comfortable on video, right? So back in the day, a lot of interviews were face to face. They would
Right.
see your resume, they would see your LinkedIn profile, they kind of have a good feel for you. Guess what? They
Mhm.
call you in and we do this, little interview thing. Well, more and more interviews are now being conducted on video. So guess
Yes.
what? If you go through all that trouble and you finally make it to the interview time, that's not the time you want to start working on. Now I need to get comfortable on camera. It's not that you're trying to be, make a movie, right? You need to at least practice, at least get comfortable, at least know where to look. Now you're not looking off, you're not looking down. Just there's certain things that you don't want to wait until the day of an interview to have figured out and say, wow,
Right.
that I just really, really bummed that one. I was really uncomfortable. I'm never really comfortable on camera. We have to
Right.
move past these. I'm not this and I'm not that, because that will keep you unemployed. That so you have to move past that. You got to get comfortable on video. Deborah, what do you say about that?
So you are 5,000% right. Several companies, big companies, now have you do a video interview. So they send you a link, they email it to you, and you have to email them back your videoed responses. And the
Mm,
reason why that is such a very smart thing to do is because now I get to watch them all at one time. Instead
yeah,
of me having to stop and dedicate time to you and miss what's going on at peak time, I can watch a video whenever it comes through when I'm checking my email.
yeah.
And another reason why is because we are in a pandemic. If I have everyone coming in the office for a face-to-face interview, I increase the chances of me catching COVID. And
Yeah.
so if I want to keep myself and my staff safe, we're going to do go to Teams or Microsoft Teams or Zoom or Skype
Mhm.
or whatever you can use as a video capability to get the interview in. I've
Yeah.
also text message interviews,
Mhm.
which is another technology. I send
Mm.
you a text, hey, this is Deborah, blah, 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 blah. I'm looking for this position. Are you interested? And then we text all
Yeah.
of that information. And then I set up a Zoom interview. And so technology is at the forefront of the employment industry. And so if you're telling me you know how to flourish in this industry, you have to be tech savvy. You got to be
Yeah.
okay with getting those text messages. You got to be okay with being on video and knowing what to say in the interview. Because if you get there and you're frustrated and you start stammering, I'm going to assume you don't operate well under pressure. Now, am I judging you?
Of
Yes.
course.
But everyone judges. That's the hiring manager's job. Judge who's going to be the best for the position because ultimately the biggest expense of any company is hiring.
Absolutely.
You have to advertise the position, you have the training, and the training comes with the learning curve. The learning curve means you're not doing as well as you should because you're still learning. So that costs the company money. If I'm consistently turning and burning employees with a high turnover rate, my expenses are going to be through the roof. So I have to be very specific, very strategic when I'm looking for talent. And so you want to make sure that you're ready and comfortable when you're doing those video interviews. Gotta do it. So if that means, you taping yourself and looking at it, even if you delete it, just do it. It will help you in the long run. I promise. I promise it'll help you in the long run.
Guys, and that's so real, because here's the reality is that we are in a different job market today, where it's just totally different. You can't use the old processes and thought processes that you used to use a time ago to try to get an advantage or to even try to get a job
Right.
in today's current cycle. Once again, we like talked about this very beginning, but the competition has ratcheted up. It's on a different level. So now you have to be on a different level as well. And the number one skill, the number one most in demand skill, I saw this the other day on LinkedIn. They did like some company did a survey of like millions, I'm like 65 million different job openings. And the number one skill, soft skill that they were talking about is communication. That's it. You've got to be able to communicate. I've got to be able to understand you. You have to be able to talk to other people. Now, communication, because a lot of it's virtual, has become more important than ever. I can't just go down a hall and just have that good conversation with you. I have to be able to communicate with you online. And so if you can't communicate and they can't see that coming across, guess what? You're going to be out of the game before you even started. So
Right.
anyway, I hope that you got some value out of this. If you gotten some value out of this, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. Make sure you tag people who are looking for a job in the comment section. I'm going to kick to my good friend here. What are any final thoughts? And definitely let our audience know how they can get in touch with you.
So I am the owner and founder of Agape Career Counseling Group. And so you can contact me online. My website is Agape, AGAPECCG.com. And so you can go on my website. You can see what services I offer. I offer career coaching. I also offer assistance with business packages. Do you need help doing a capability statement? Your company bio. Those are things that I also offer on the website. So if there's a service that you need, and you don't see it highlighted, just be sure to shoot me an email. My email address is agapeccg. That's AGAPECCG @yahoo.com. And then that way we can get a conversation started using communication. And then that way I can get you what you need. Because it's just too difficult to put every single thing of every capability that I can do online. And so if you have simple questions about employment, or you're getting ready to go for an interview and you don't have an idea of what to say, that would be interview prep. I offer those services as well. And so if you need anything job related, HR related, let me know. And if I don't do it, I am the queen of let me find you someone. let me look at my trusty dusty Rolodex of people and figure things out. Sean will tell you.
Yes.
Consistently, do I not stalk you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sean,
I love it. I love it.
I need you to work your magic. And he's like, sure, no problem. And he's on it. So don't feel like you have to go it alone. No one has to go it alone. There's someone out there everywhere all the time to help. So if you have any questions for me, again, my website is Agape, AGAPECCG.com. And my email address is Agape, AGAPECCG @yahoo.com.
Awesome, awesome. And guys, I promise you, I've called her this before. It's my favorite term for it. She is the Michael Jordan of career search, of job search.
I want to be the LeBron James.
Okay. I'm old. I'm old.
Oh, yeah, LeBron James has my heart right now.
Okay, you can be the LeBron James of job search, career search, all that. Yeah, you can be the LeBron James, whatever. Hey, whatever you want to do, because you're that good. And guys, like I said, this has been sponsored by the Job Search Advantage. In today's job market, you need an advantage, and you need the Job Search Advantage. That is my course. So you see it going along here at the bottom. Make sure you go to www.jobsearchtips2021, because we're already thinking about the future, right? .com. And get the advantage that you need. You do not need to be competing with other people. You need an advantage to get the job search advantage. With that being said, everybody, I hope you've gotten value out of this. Until next time, I will be reaching out to my sister again, because we want to help as many people as we can get into work in this competitive job field, job market that we have. And we'll be doing a lot more of these. But for the now, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.